Welcome, my dear students, to this English literature class. Well, in this video, I am going to discuss with you the figures of speech or the poetic or the literary devices. Any of the words can be used. You most of the times you study this in poetry, but somehow it is even mentioned in the Merchant of Venice or the short stories. And in this video, I will be explaining you the different figures of speech, or sometimes the word can be used as poetic device or the literary device. And I will be giving you examples from your text itself, right? So here I begin. Number one, poetic device is the lyric. That is the kinds of poems. The first poem is lyric. Now, lyric is a short poem which deals with a single emotion or a single thought. For example, the bangle sellers. It only deals with the kinds of bangles. Daffodils. The whole poem deals only with the flower, daffodils. Then the heart of the tree. The whole poem deals with a single thought, maintaining the tree. Right? Number two, ballad. What is a ballad? A ballad is a long poem having a story. And most of the time, the story in the poem deals with ancient folk tales, some legends, some characters from mythology, some great characters of the literature, and so on. For example, After Blenheim. That's a long poem with a story. It deals with a particular Blenheim war. Then The Patriot. Again, it is a long poem having a story in it, and so on, right? Number three, dramatic monologue. What is dialogue? Dialogue means conversation between two or more people. D-I. Monologue. Mono means one. So dramatic monologue is a poem in which there is only one speaker other than the poet. There is only one speaker and he is not the poet. For example, The Patriot. That poem is a dramatic monologue because a patriot is talking about his story. Right? Number four, didactic poem. A didactic poem is the one which gives us a message, which tries to tell something to us, to give us a lesson in a short. For example, television. What message does it give us? That we should not watch lots and lots of television. It is harmful to us. Instead, we should go for book reading, right? And number five, this is, I just want for your information, sonnet. A sonnet is a poem with 14 lines. Any poem which has 14 lines is called a sonnet. You do not have any sonnet in your syllabus this time, right? So now next, the most common figures of speech which we use, simile, and then metaphor. Both of them can be used for the same purpose, but the usage is different. Now, simile and metaphor both are used when we want to show the similarity between two things. But most of the times when we try to show the similarity, with simile we use the words like as or like. But in metaphor we use the similarity indirectly. I will give you one basic general example. For example, I speak a sentence, he fought like a lion. He fought like a lion. Like word aa gaya, so this is a simile. Now I want to speak the same thing, but now I am speaking like he was the lion in the fight. He was the lion in the fight. Now no as or like is used, but the similarity is same. So this is called a metaphor. That is the difference between the two, the simile and the metaphor. So simile is the way we show the similarity, the comparison between two things with the words like as or like. Like in Bengal Sellers, there is a line like her bridal laughter and bridal tear. Then in Bengal Sellers, again there is a line, mountain mist, what was the line? Silver and blue as the mountain mist, yes. Then in television, the brain becomes as soft as cheese. So these all are the examples of simile. Now come to metaphor. Metaphor in Bengal Sellers, we have a metaphor shining loads, rainbow tinted circles of light. So indirectly they are saying rainbow tinted circles of light refers to the Bengals. Then a friend of sun and sky in the poem The Heart of the Tree. These are the examples of metaphors, right? Now next thing is personification. Personification means when the non-living objects are treated as living beings. Like the housetops seemed to sway, heap and sway. Housetops, छतें हिल रही थी. तो छतें, the roofs are non-living objects, but here they are treated as living. Then next example can be death's still hands, the cold within. How can death have hands? So here death is treated as a living being. Then television as a monster. Television is treated something as living. Daffodils as a host or a crowd. So all these are examples of personification. Next is number 9, alliteration. What is alliteration? The repetition of the same consonant sound again and again in a sentence. The basic example is very general example which we give in Hindi is चंदू के चाचा ने चंदू की चाची को चांदनी चौक पे चांदी के चम्मच से चटनी चटाई च च च च. So that is known as alliteration, the repetition of the same sound twice or more in bleak and bitter cold, the cold within. Then more examples are from the poem Daffodils. I gazed and gazed. The repetition of the sound g. Then in hushed and happy twilight heard the heart of the tree. With metal mixed up in my path like mad, the sound of the word m repeated again and again from the poem The Patriot. So these are all called alliterations. Next, hyperbole. What is a hyperbole? A hyperbole is when we try to exaggerate the thing. बढ़ा चढ़ाकर किसी बात को बोलना. 10,000 saw I at a glance. Daffodils. No, he did not count 10,000, लेकिन उसने बढ़ा इतने flowers थे that he said that they were around 10,000. That's also an example of inversion. Then another, the other day I went to a home and I saw a dozen eyeballs on the floor from the poem Television. Again, that is an example of hyperbole. बढ़ा चढ़ाकर बोला. How can eyeballs come down on the floor? So it is only thing to express. That is a way of expression, hyperbole. Right? Next, number 11, repetition. What is repetition? When the words are repeated again in a line. That is known as repetition. And why is repetition used? Agar aapko sometimes a question comes, why are these words repeated? So the basic answer is the words are repeated in order to lay stress, in order to emphasize on the particular point. So, oh please, there is some line like this. So please, oh please, from the line television, from the poem television. So that is, the words are repeated. Why? Because he wants to lay emphasis on the fact that you should stop watching television and start reading books. Next, refrain. What is refrain? Refrain means repetition of a particular phrase or a line at repeated intervals. And how come? Like the best example of refrain is in the poem After Blenheim by Robert Southey, where old Caspar again and again says, but it was a famous victory, or but it was a great victory. So those words are repeated by the end of the stanza in almost every stanza. So that is an example of refrain, the repetition of phrase or words at repeated intervals, right? Next, symbolism. Most of the time symbolism is asked. What do the symbolism symbolize? I have written symbolism or whatever. So symbolism means what do the particular things stand for in a particular, for example, in the poem The Cold Within, the logs of wood symbolize human sin. In the story Old Man at the Bridge, the cats symbolize independence, the doves symbolize peace, right? And in the poem The Match Girl, the iron stove symbolizes warmth, the goose symbolizes hunger, the heart of the tree. In this poem, the tree symbolizes peace and prosperity, and so on, right? Now, next, irony. Its symbolism. What is irony? Irony means which brings out the difference between what it is said and what it actually is. जब कहा कुछ जाता है और actually वो होता कुछ और है. And the best example of irony is After Blenheim, the words of old Caspar. On one side, he himself says that it was a great victory or it was a famous victory, and he himself is telling about all the death and destruction caused in the war. So that is an example of irony. Then another example can be from the poem The Patriot, in which he himself says that I entered as a hero. And again the irony happened with him was that he was treated as a traitor for a year's misdeeds. Right? Next example, next, allusion. What is allusion? Allusion means reference, to refer some great person or character or story or topic or anything. For example, in the poem The Patriot, when he says, it was I who leaped at the sun. When he says that line, there is a reference to the story of Icarus, who was the son of Daedalus. Remember the story we have done over there, that Icarus, he wanted to fly. And so his father tried to give him the wooden structure with the wings. They were attached with wax, and he dared to go near the sun, and the wax melted and he dived into the sea and was dead. So that reference, that is known as allusion, referring to something past, some incident or something, right? Next example, next is oxymoron. Or you pronounce it as oxymoron. It's up to you how you pronounce it, oxymoron or oxymoron. It means when two opposite words are used together. For example, in the poem Cold Within, The second last stanza, the words used are forlorn group, in which forlorn means lonely and group means so many. So both the words are used together. Then in the story, an angel in disguise, the oxymoron used is a precious burden when Joe carries Maggie. A precious burden. Precious means something really very expensive, and something which is very expensive cannot be a burden. So when opposite words are used together, they are known as oxymoron, right? And last but not the least, I want to discuss is imagery. Imagery from the word imagination. Sometimes when a question is asked, what figure of speech has been used? If you can find no other figure of speech used, you can always use imagery, imagination. There are many kinds of imageries. Most prominent are from the five sense organs: visual imagery from the eyes, auditory imagery from the ears, kinesthetic from the movement, tactile from the touch, according to your five sense organs. So when we read a line, something forms, something we imagine in front of our maybe eyes or ears or skin, that is known as imagery. The most common is visual imagery. Visual, visual, from the eyes. Sometimes when we read a particular line, that image comes before our eyes. That is known as visual imagery. For example, rainbow tinted circles of light. When we read this line, a picture of different colors of bangles appear before our imagination. Then the patriot said that I go in the rain. At that time, his walking in the rain can be imagined by us, hands tied at the back, and he's walking in the rain. That is an example of visual imagery. Then fluttering and dancing in the breeze. We can very well imagine how the daffodils would be fluttering and dancing. Then the cold within. All the six died with death still's hand. We can imagine that scene, the dying fire which has been put off now, and all the six people dying and all having carrying the log at their back. So these all are examples of visual imagery. Then auditory imagery. Sometimes we read a line and we can hear that sound, the sound of the gun, for example. Then from after Blenheim, then when we read the word tinkling in the Bengal sellers, we can hear the sound of the bangles, right? Then the ringing of the church bells in the poem The Patriot, we can hear that sound, that is known as auditory imagery. Then tactile imagery. Skin, when we feel something in the poem Patriot, when the patriot says, the blood coming out from my forehead bleeds, there is some line. So we can imagine how that blood would be oozing out from the forehead and falling down. And rope cutting my hands, he uses even though that expression. So we can imagine how when his hands would have been tied, how the rope would have been cutting his hands and there would have been blood coming from there. Then kinesthetic image. Kinesthetic means movement. When it says it was I who leaped at the sun, I who tried to jump. So that is an example of kinesthetic imagery. Dancing and fluttering, again movement of the flower. That is an example of kinesthetic imagery, right? So these are a few and the most common literary devices which you use in your answers, and many a time the questions are asked. So I have tried to explain all these literary devices, giving the examples from the book, from your syllabus, so that it is easier for you for your understanding. Do apply them in your answers, and even you can use them for your essay writing or letter writing also, right? I hope you liked the video. If you did, do give a thumbs up, and if you have still not subscribed, please do subscribe my channel. Bye bye.